Tonight's story is called The Jelly Runway. The airport was one of the most exciting places in the whole of Horsmarlonerpool, because it's where everyone went and found the planes that would take them on holiday. You could fly to faraway seasides where the sand was soft and warm, and if you added some water from the sea, well, you could build tall, spiralling castles with special rooms and moats and bridges and flags. Or you could fly to snowy mountains, thousands of miles to the south, and you could ski as fast as you liked, or you could join in the biggest snowball fight of all time. Or you were allowed to fly to exciting cities, where you're allowed to stay up all night and live at the top of skyscrapers and watch loud and exciting shows where everyone danced under laser lights and explosions. The airport was so exciting that it was getting very popular. When they first built it, only about 3 planes landed into Horsmarlonerpool every day, and only about 3 took off. Well, now there are about 50 planes landing a day and about 50 taking off. So Bora, who ran the airport, well, she knew that she had a problem. The runway, the big long road where the planes took off from and landed on, it was too short and it was far too worn out. All the planes landing on it made holes, and all the planes taking off with their big engines had blown the surface and the holes so much that loads of cracks had appeared. If passengers arriving into her airport were going to have the best welcome possible, they needed a nice smooth runway to land on. And for all those families going away on holiday, well, they needed a nice gentle runway to take off from, or Mummy and Daddy might get scared. So Bora decided she'd have a brand new runway built, and she'd need the finest builders in Horsmarlonerpool to build it. And there was only one team for the job: Bence and Elsie Higherground. You see, Bence and Elsie had been builders in town for years and years, and had done all the big important jobs. They'd built a sports hall for the school. They'd built the highest scaffolding you'd ever seen to bravely mend a turret on Castle Earnose. And they'd even built a swimming pool for cows on Father Headcon's farm. If anyone could build a new runway, it was Bence and Elsie Higherground. So, that Friday night, when the last plane had taken off for the evening and the others were cosy and warm in their hangars, Bora gave the instructions. "I'm shutting down the airport for the whole weekend," she said. "So you have 2 days to build me a brand new runway, or nobody will be able to fly away on Monday morning." Well, 2 days was not a lot of time. Elsie and Bence Higherground snapped their fingers and the biggest diggers grumbled into life. "Start removing the old runway," they commanded, and off the diggers went, scraping it up and putting the old concrete into trucks. By the end of the first day, the old runway had completely gone, and all that was left was a long wide strip of mud. But there was only a day and a bit to get the new runway down before Monday morning arrivals. Well, Bora paced nervously around her house all weekend. She didn't want to get in the way, but this was her airport. She had to know what was going on. But Elsie and Bence did have her number. If there was a problem, they would call. And so far, the phone remained silent. Early on Monday morning, Bora got dressed quickly, ran into her garden, and climbed into her helicopter. Within 2 minutes, she was hovering over the airport. The sun was just coming up, so she couldn't see properly, but something about the new runway didn't look quite right. She lowered her helicopter down and landed with a wobble. Her whole helicopter wobbled. She turned off the engine and climbed out, but when her feet met the runway, she wobbled too. She looked down at her brand new runway and saw that it was orange. Bence and Elsie bounced up happily. "There you are, Laura, all finished and not a second to spare." Laura just kept looking at her boots, which had sunk a little bit into the orange runway when she tried to do a little jump. The runway was so bouncy that she had to bend her knees to stop herself from bouncing off. "Bence, Elsie, what exactly did you build the runway out of?" she asked. Well, Elsie looked a little confused. "Well," she said, "we've never built one before, so we built it out of jelly." "You built my new runway out of jelly?" said Laura Bora. "My expensive new runway out of jelly?" "Well," said Bence, "they're going to want a nice soft landing, aren't they?" Laura didn't know what to say, apart from "Look out! The first plane of the day was coming in to land at the airport, and her runway was made of orange jelly." It came in with a roar and a bounce. It took straight back off, right up into the sky. "Well, what's he doing up there?" wondered Bence. "Oh, no," said Laura Bora. The plane circled around and had another go. This time it bounced a bit, then bounced a little, and then wobbled to a halt. The pilot opened the door and looked a little dizzy. Laura Bora bounced right over to him. "My dear Pilot Swan, I am so embarrassed." "What on earth was that?" said Pilot Swan. "Why, that was the softest landing we've ever had." A big smile spread across his face, and his co-pilot, Pilot Rachel, came to the door. "That was brilliant," she said. Laura Bora looked back at Bence and Elsie Higher Ground and gave them a big thumbs up. And from that day forward, Horsmarlonerpool Airport was known for its wonderful runway and became more and more popular than ever. Passengers liked to take off on it because they'd bounce off into the sky. It was the best possible way to start your holiday. And passengers loved landing on it because it was the softest return to Earth you could imagine. And soon there were 100 planes taking off and 100 planes landing every single day. But there were 2 customers who were always allowed to go wherever they wanted for free. Elsie and Bence Higher Ground, the inventors of the Jelly Runway. Night-night.
We're talking to school.